this is probably my favorite movie of the year so far. I would say the best movie of the year so far, Sinners. Sinners, the latest film from Ryan Coogler, again, the director of Black Panther, of Creed, of Fruitvale Station. This is probably his best film. And I can't speak more highly of this one. And this is going to be a non-spoiler review. I would recommend it. Don't watch the trailers. You can watch the first trailer. It's like a teaser kind of trailer for the movie. The second one gives away spoilers. And a lot of people, and I myself, went into the movie knowing what the actual plot was, or more of the plot details and things to expect. That didn't change my experience. But if you went into this movie cold, you would be, I think, hit with this amazing twist, this amazing development that would just knock your socks off. And again, so if you can, try to avoid watching trailer 2, or try to avoid watching any other reviews or spoiler reviews before watching this. But this stars Michael B. Jordan. He plays not one person, he plays 2 people. He plays twins, the twin brothers Smoke and Stack. Haley Steinfeld in this film, Delroy Lindo, Jack O'Connell, and introducing for his first film ever, Miles Caton. I believe it's Miles Caton, Caton. He plays Sammy Moore, this young blues guitarist. He wants to be a musician. He's the son of a preacher, and so his nickname is Preacher Boy. But he doesn't really want to follow in the preacher's footsteps, his father's footsteps. He wants to, do what his heart's telling him, and that's to play blues music, to play music. And this story is it's a historical rated R horror film. Takes place in 1932 Jim Crow era Mississippi. The story follows the brothers of Smoke and Stack, again played by Michael B. Jordan, who there are many films where like the same actor kind of plays a twin. Recently, Mickey 17, where you have Robert Pattinson playing himself. You have like clones, or you have the Flash, Ezra Miller. There's like 2 versions of the Flash, but in those films, I don't know. I haven't seen Mickey 17, to be fair. I haven't seen the Flash, but I've seen many clips of the Flash, and it just kind of doesn't look very great, the CGI work in general, but also just kind of like them being next to each other. It feels like you can tell one was filmed on this side, and then the other he redid his shot on this side. It didn't look that really that smooth, or it took a lot of effort to make them both fit in that screen, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. But for this film, you have Michael B. Jordan interacting with Michael B. Jordan so well, and even after like the first minute after seeing these two, you kind of forget of how that this is the same actor playing 2 different people. It like the character, like personality wise, they're different, and they're identical twins, but but he is able to portray each brother differently enough where there's no mistaking which one's which, and who's with who and all this stuff. So that worked out so well. Basically, the 2 brothers, Smoke and Stack, their nicknames, they return home to their small town in Mississippi after being in Chicago for 7 years. This is also after fighting in World War I. They come back with the goal of opening up a juke joint, basically like a nightclub for blues players, so the black community can come in, party, spend their money, drink, dance, and have a good time. However, things turn upside down when a greater evil awaiting welcomes them back home. So many great things to talk about this film, and I'll break this up in different categories. Again, I won't go in depth. All I'm saying is I love this film. The action, if you're looking for a great action film, this has a lot of great stuff and creative. Again, it's so hard to talk about what they're fighting without spoiling it. Okay. So I won't go in too much detail, but the action is great. A lot of like hand-to-hand action, gunfight action, wooden bats and sticks action, all that stuff. That's great. There's an element of drama in this film because the Smoke and Stack, the brothers, they return home and they've burnt a lot of bridges when they left, and so they're coming back into this small town where everybody knows they're back, and these guys they're tough guys. They're more on the crime side of the law. I guess they were lawbreakers, I guess you could say. And so, but they're rough and tough kind of guys who people don't want to mess with, but they've also burned a lot of bridges. And so there are a lot of people that are just not happy with them being back. The horror aspect of this film, I wouldn't say it's straight, full-blown horror. If you have any questions, please let me know. There's so much fun elements in this, but when the horror cranks up, it cranks up to a 10. And there are moments where I'm literally, like, my heart is beating because there's a moment where there's one character on the side of a door and there's another on the other side, and there's a small hole that was punctured by a knife, and one character comes in.
Never look in the hole.
Never look in the hole. But this character, several characters, get right up close into it. And I'm not going to say anything, but, like, it's tense. Like, I was like, what are you guys doing? Like, that's just one example of, like, a tense moment.
Don't you know you're in a horror movie?
I know, don't you know? There's a lot of thrilling stuff in this film as well. But the one part that everybody is talking about and that impacted me the most of this film was the music. Oh. As I mentioned, there's this character named Sammy. He's a young guy, 20-something years old, and he has it's in his blood to sing, to perform, to play the guitar. And in the beginning of the film, and this isn't a spoiler, but in the beginning of the film, there's a voiceover that describes people with a certain supernatural gift throughout the millennia. So it goes back to African tribesmen, to Native Americans, to people, ever since humans could play music. There have been people with the ability to, through their performing of music, whether it's singing and or playing an instrument, they're able to transcend space and time and dive into or connect with spirits of the past, present, and the future. And there's a sequence, a one-shot sequence in this film where music captures those who are in juke joint, in this nightclub, and everybody's entranced by this music. And this is the first time, and I'm being completely honest, this is the first time I felt kind of hypnotized while watching a film.
Cool.
Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I felt the music through my body while watching this film. After the film, I go check out some reviews. I'm reading online on Reddit what people are saying. Every comment was bringing up this sequence, that it had such a physical and emotional impact to them. I'm trying not to hype this up too much because I've been talking to my wife about this.
Hype it.
But it's a very transformative sequence in this film. That's really hard to explain, and I can only say just go in and experience, because it's such creative filmmaking, not only in the technical sense, in the work of the one shot that Ryan Coogler was able to direct, but also the technical sense, the musical sense, the score of the song. Visually, it's beautiful.
So you would say it's a very unique experience.
It's a very unique experience and
that's incredibly difficult to pull off.
And again, I'm not the only person who thought this. Like, again, this is what I felt in the theater. And right after, I had to look up to see what people were saying about this. Every top comment on Reddit, so don't look at Reddit before you watch this film, but every top comment on Reddit was describing and talking about this sequence. So it was like, it's not just me feeling this.
Yeah.
Like, many people have felt this.
I feel like this movie came out of nowhere, though. I don't remember, like, hearing the marketing or build up for it. So it's kind of a sleeper. When did you hear about it? And so you were talking about the word of mouth, too.
So the thing is, I actually saw the first trailer several weeks ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I'll be honest, I watched the trailer and I wasn't that... My interest wasn't piqued. It really wasn't. I thought, okay, Ryan Coogler is a great director. Michael B. Jordan, he's fantastic. It just didn't it didn't make me think about, I'm definitely going to go see this movie in theaters. But then word of mouth. The word of mouth on this film is doing wonders for it, and this is why it's doing so great at the box office. And I imagine this is one of those films that will be kept in theaters for a longer period, for that at least 45-day period, because people are wanting to go watch this, especially in IMAX. I didn't even talk about IMAX. This was filmed for IMAX. And one great thing that they do, again, visually speaking and technically speaking, cinematography speaking, there are moments where you have the aspect ratio, go down, where you have the black bars on the top and bottom of the screen. And then there are sequences where those black bars rise up and you have the entire IMAX screen available, and it's during these sequences where, for example, the music sequence or dance sequences or certain important moments where like you feel that. I think that's part of what got people like myself feeling like hypnotized by this film, because you're enveloped by it. But the use of IMAX and the format is done perfectly in this film. And so that's why I recommend not only watching this in theaters, but watching it on an IMAX if you can, because that experience was fantastic.
That's right. It's not just waiting for it to be streaming on your little TV
or
screen
watching it
at
on your
home.
phone. No,
IMAX.
absolutely not. IMAX. Again, I'm not going to give away spoilers. If you do know like the quote twist or whatnot, it does not ruin the film for you, because I knew it going in, and this is a great movie. If you're a music fan, if you're a blues fan specifically, wait for the end of the movie. There's a mid-credit scene, like after-credit scene. Wait for that. You will be rewarded if you are a blues fan, if you are a music fan. It's a beautiful ending. I was telling my wife because I'm describing the sequence to her and the vibe. It's all about vibes during the sequence and during other parts too. But I'm telling her about this, and I showed her the trailer, and she goes, "This is not what you described to me at all." And I said, "Yeah, the trailer doesn't it isn't what I described. Wasn't the horror film that I watched." And so she was kind of taken aback by the trailer. But the more I'm talking about it, and even before this podcast, I was telling her, I keep thinking about the sequence, and I keep thinking about this movie. And she's not a big fan of horror films, but she says, and I told her I don't want to give away any spoilers or anything. And she says, no, I don't want to know anything. I want to go in cold. So this is a film that she actually wants to watch now, which I'm more than willing to and happy to take her to go watch again, just because there aren't that many films that stick with you. That this film is sticking with me. So if you are a fan of horror, if you're a fan of action, if you're a fan of history, again, this takes place during 1930s, segregation, Jim Crow era Mississippi. So it has that aspect to it as well. And there are a lot of messages and things that you can dissect, talking about current day politics, past day politics, and whatnot that you can decipher. So if you're into any of this stuff, there is something in this film for you. I feel like I could talk for hours about this film, and I would love to talk about a spoiler, go in depth about spoiler stuff, down the road. But like I said, I think this is a 9 out of 10, if not a 10 out of 10 film. Wow. You should watch it right now. And just
so Oscar contention.
Oh my God, Ryan Coogler. I'm saying it right now. Has to be nominated for Best Director. Has to be nominated for Best Writer. He also wrote this film. The cinematography needs to be nominated. The attire, everything about this film is nearly perfect. There's one little thing that I could quote maybe nitpick that kind of felt forced near the end, but even then, it's an enjoyable sequence. Yeah, it's an enjoyable sequence that I think the director was like, we still got time. Let's throw this in here. And does he need to throw it in there? No, not really. But he does, and you know what? I'm not complaining about it. I won't complain about it because it's a really fun and weird to say feel good moment in this film. But Sinners. Go watch it in theaters while you can before it gets snatched out of theaters and put on some streaming service. Watch it on IMAX.
James loves this movie.